Welcome, Welcome, family and friends, to the Forest City Regional Elementary School's Spring Extravaganza. I am Chase Bolig, and I will be your Mistress of Ceremonies for today's program.
Hello, I am Jonathan Nebzdowski, and I will be joining Chase as the Master of Ceremonies. We would like to thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us for our annual spring production.
We hope you enjoy the show. The children and teachers have been very busy preparing for today's performance. We ask that you sit back, relax, and enjoy the songs your children have been preparing over the past few months.
Before we begin, Mr. Michael Zach, Forest City Regional's elementary principal, would like to extend a warm welcome to you. Mr. Zach, if you please.
Good morning. It's awesome to see a full house here this morning. Welcome to our annual Spring Extravaganza. During the last few weeks, our hallways and classrooms have been filled with the buzz of all things spring, including lots of practicing for today's performance. I'm extremely thankful that we're able to come together to enjoy the sounds of spring with a few classic songs that I'm sure you'll remember from your childhood, and a few less-known songs that are sure to be lots of fun too. I'd like to give a special thanks to Mrs. Simon for planning the musical selections this morning, and to Mr. Scavone for his support helping students learn their songs. In addition, each teacher has worked hard to be sure their students are ready for today's performance, and have taken on the role of choreographers, set designers, and more. Thank you. Also, a shout out to our MCs for doing such a great job facilitating this morning's extravaganza. Finally, thank you to the family, friends, and caregivers who have taken time out of their busy spring schedules to join us here this morning. A strong school and community partnership is truly critical to our collective success. Before we begin, one quick joke of the day to get us started. Chase and Jonathan, do you know the difference between a piano and a fish? You can't tune a fish. May you all have a fun-filled, safe, and relaxing summer. Chase and Jonathan, let's get this extravaganza started.
Thank you, Mr. Zach, for taking the time out of your busy schedule to bring us those words of welcome. As we stand before you today, we are delighted to see so many parents, grandparents, and friends in the audience. We realize that this is a very busy time of year and appreciate you taking the time to spend it with us.
As a courtesy to our students, we ask that you please turn off your cell phones or place them on vibrate during the performance. For several weeks, the children and teachers have been very busy learning these songs.
We ask that you remain seated for the entire program. Also, we ask that you do not block the aisles as the children will be walking down them from the stage. Thank you for your cooperation.
Our first performers this morning will be our kindergarten students. Throughout the second half of the school year, the kindergarten class has been practicing their pitch, direction, and basic rhythms, and even composing basic melodies and rhythm patterns.
The kindergarten students will start off their first half of the program with some dinosaur-themed favorites. Their first song is Dinosaurs, and will feature a few of our favorite dinosaurs.
Their next song is D-I-N-O-S, which will have a familiar melody. Their final song will be Dinosaur Diddy-Wah, which is sure to get your toes tapping. Chase, before we start, I have a question. What kind of dinosaur makes the best police officer?
I don't know, Jonathan. What kind of dinosaur makes the best police officers?
Triceratops.
Please welcome our kindergarten students assisted by their teachers, Mrs. Fitzsimmons, Mrs. Michaels, Mrs. Locke, and Mrs. Nebzdowski, under the direction of Mrs. Simon.
We found fossils, so we
Thank you, kindergarten, for that exciting performance. It definitely set the mood for us. Our next performers will be our first grade students.
Our first grade class has had a very busy year in music class. They have been refining their rhythm skills as well as learning about their different instrumental families and multiple famous composers.
The first grade class will sing some weather-themed favorites for us. Their first song is Singing in the Rain from the classic film with the same name. Their second song will be Over the Rainbow from The Wizard of Oz.
Their final song is a jazzy classic, Blue Skies. They'll take us from rain to shine in 3 songs.
Jonathan, before first grade begins, I have a question for you. What happens when it rains cats and dogs?
I don't know, Chase, what happens when it rains in cats and dogs?
You better be careful not to step in a poodle.
Please welcome our first grade students. They are assisted by their teachers, Mrs. Caholan, Mrs. Monahan, and Mrs. Osan, and under the direction of Mrs. Simon. Thank you, first grade, for that wonderful performance. Our next singers are the second grade class.
These students have been preparing some fun tunes for your enjoyment.
Their first song will be Let's Get On Board.
Their second song will be the classic I've Been Working on a Railroad.
Second grade's final song is Down by the Station. Before we hear from our second grade students, I have another question for you, Chase. What do you call a train loaded with bubblegum?
I don't know, Jonathan. What do you call a train loaded with bubblegum?
A choo-choo train.
Please welcome our second grade students. They are assisted by their performers, by their teachers, Mrs. Turano, Mrs. Loomis, and Mrs. Derenkamp, under the direction of Mr. Scavone.
Let's get on board the
Thank you, second grade. That was a very enjoyable performance. Our next performers will be our third grade class.
The third grade class has been working hard this year preparing these fun fishy songs for you.
Their first song this morning will be Song of the Fishes.
For their final song, the third grade class will perform the song Crawdad Hole. This is third grade's final spring extravaganza performance.
Before third grade performs, I have another question, Jonathan. Who grants fishes wishes?
I don't know, Chase, who grants fishes wishes?
A fairy godmother.
Please welcome our third grade class assisted by their teachers, Mrs. Glenn, Miss Reddick, and Mrs. Shelp, under the direction of Mr. Scavone.
Listen to me, I'll sing you a song of the fish in the sea. So blowy winds westerly, westerly blow. We're bound to the southward, so steady we go. First comes the bluefish, wagging his tail. He comes upon deck and yells, all hands make sail. So blowy winds westerly, westerly blow. We're bound to the southward, so steady we go. Next come the eagles with their nimble tails. They jump along and they lose all the sails. So blowy winds westerly, westerly blow. We're bound to the southward, so steady we go. Then comes the mackerel with his striped back. He flops on the bridge and goes toward the main tack. So blowy winds westerly, westerly blow. We're bound to the southward, so steady we go. Up jumps the fisherman, stalwart and grim, and with his big net he scoops them all in. So blowy winds westerly, westerly blow. We're bound to the southward, so steady we go. You get a line and I'll get a pole, honey. You get a line and I'll get a pole, babe. You get a line and I'll get a pole. We'll go fishing in the crawdad hole, honey. Oh, baby mine. What you gonna do when the stream runs dry, honey? What you gonna do when the stream runs dry, babe? What you gonna do when the stream runs dry? Sit on the bank, watch the crawdads die, honey. Oh, baby mine. Here comes a man with a pack on his back, honey. Here comes a man with a pack on his back, babe. Here comes a man with a pack on his back, tolling the crawdads in his back, honey. Oh, baby mine. What you gonna do when the crawdad runs dry, honey? You get a line and I'll get a pole, babe. You get a line and I'll get a pole. We'll go fishing in the crawdad hole, oh, baby mine.
Thank you, third grade. It's hard to believe we are already at the end of the performance this morning, Chase.
Time flies when you're having fun. We thank you all once again for taking the time out of your busy schedules to come out and support the youngest elementary singers.
We would also like to thank our superintendent, Mr. Daniel Gilroy, the members of the school board, and our elementary principal, Mr. Michael Zach, for all of their support throughout the school year.
We would like to thank all of the teachers and paraprofessionals for kindergarten, first grade, second grade, and third grade for assisting this year's program.
Most especially, we would like to thank Mrs. Simon and Mr. Scavone for helping us prepare for today's program and organizing this morning's event.
Finally, we would like to thank you, the parents and families of the students on stage. Without your support, none of this would be possible. Thank you for coming. We hope you have a great summer.